Hey you guys, welcome back to Mayfield Ranch. I'm Katie. We're out here in the garden today. I'm going to get some bell peppers planted and I thought we'd hang out together while I do that. Okay, so I'm going to get started just by making spots for my bell peppers, and there's some cardboard under here. I'm just piercing through that with this long screwdriver. Pretty much any tool you guys have similar to that should work. So I'm going to put 3 peppers into this bed, and I'm spacing them about 1 foot apart. Hopefully the peppers can contend with the Bermuda grass. We will see how that experiment goes. The tomatoes had a tough time last year. They were in this bed and there's plenty of Bermuda grass. Now it's super overcast out here. The last few days it's been 90 degrees. So I'm taking advantage when it's really nice out, it's nice and cool. I do have a sunburn. So that's the reason for the long sleeves today. It's not really so cool that you need to have on a sweatshirt. Right, let's get some of these babies planted. So if you watched the previous videos, you probably saw me using these 2-inch soil blocks to start most of my plants in. And I did the same thing with a lot of my peppers. Some of them are in the little cups, but a lot of them are in the 2-inch soil blocks. So that's what you see here. This whole tray. So there's a couple of squash plants on the edge, but most of these are bell peppers. So we're gonna attempt to pull out some of these bell peppers and get them planted. Now the roots even though they're soil blocks, the roots just kind of grow underneath. You can see they kind of grow underneath and they do connect. So I do need to kind of pull them apart a little bit. And I'm trying to maintain as many of the roots as possible. So that's what this one looks like. I think when I water these soil blocks, they kind of deteriorate a little bit. So they're not super defined like they were when I originally made them. Now, I didn't separate, I just have that soil blocker. I didn't separate the soil blocks. I just put them right in, but they develop good healthy roots. So let's get these planted. Now with peppers, I don't plant my peppers really deeply into the soil like I might do with tomatoes. I just plant them at roughly the same depth that they're at currently, whether you're starting them in a cup or in this case the 2-inch soil blocks. So I'm just putting the soil right up to the same level that they've been growing so far. So here's all my soil blocks of my peppers, just so you guys kind of have an idea. Check out the roots. So we'll try to gently just keep breaking these apart. Now I did want to try to show you if you can see right here, these little nodules. It's trying to grow roots. So the peppers here, they're trying to grow roots from their stem. So I'll plant them about that deep. I have not seen that happen when I plant in pots. So I think it's the nature of how I'm watering them in these 2-inch soil blocks. So I'm probably giving them, maybe there's a little bit more moisture kind of retained here, where in the pots I'm watering from the bottom. So maybe that's a little bit different. Either way, these are super healthy plants. I actually liked growing peppers in the 2-inch soil blocks, so I will absolutely do that again. They developed healthy roots. It was nice to kind of keep them all together. They don't take as much space. So plenty of pros for the soil blocks for peppers. There were some other things that I grew in soil blocks I probably wouldn't again. So like tomatoes, for me personally, I would probably just start those in their own containers. The soil blocks, I didn't love them for tomatoes. It probably also is a factor of how big do you let your plants get before you plant them out. And for my tomatoes, I let them get really big before I plant them out. So that could be part of it. That one might be a little deep. Okay. So I'm trying to just gently separate these. And I'm bending them down because a lot of the roots have grown on the bottom. So I'm trying to maintain some of those if I can. If I tear them, they'll be fine. But I'm just trying to maintain as much of that good, healthy root development as possible. Now you see this one, this little guy, it's alive, but I've got a lot that are a lot bigger, so we're not going to worry too much about him. I do want to show you this one. So I tried to show you before, but look at this. Look at the roots. So try to move the leaf out of the way. Look at those roots that are kind of developing from the stem right here. You can see that. So again, I think the moisture that I had available for them in the soil blocks is a little different than it would have been if it was in a pot. This is Bermuda grass. I don't love it. Okay, so look at this baby planted. Okay, because this little guy is growing roots, or really trying to grow those roots from the stem, I did make sure that I put that area under the soil just so those roots can further develop. Typically with peppers, I'm not going to be planting them quite as deep like I would with tomatoes. Now certainly they have the capability to grow roots from the stem, but there's risk that they'll rot. To me, the risk with peppers is just a little bit higher than it is with tomatoes. So it's not something I generally do, planting them really deep to encourage more root growth along the stem. But it's something you can do. So we're gonna have quite a bit of bell peppers here in our garden. Last year we actually had quite a bit of bell peppers too, and they grew really well. So I'm gonna try them again. In years past, I really haven't had the best luck growing bell peppers. I've done really well with Anaheim peppers. So since we had such good luck last year, we're trying quite a bit of bell peppers out in our garden again. Probably gonna take a few of these and bring them to the back animal garden. The reason I plant things in a couple different areas really just has to do with mitigating my risk. So it might look from the garden tours like everything's great and things grow really well, and they do, but sometimes, some years, we have difficulty with certain plants that, you know, maybe it's the area that they're in, perhaps there's a watering issue, they don't get as much water. In this case, maybe the Bermuda grass just crowds them out. So we do tend to mix our plants up a little bit. So I'm putting all the bell peppers right here, but I'm still going to take a few, put them in the animal garden. That way, if for some reason we don't get a harvest, maybe the water's an issue, the weeds are an issue, whatever it is, we got a second shot in the other garden. We don't usually split them 50-50, but at least we can harvest something. So we don't usually split them up like 50-50. I don't put half here, half there. But generally, if we have a bad situation somewhere, at least we can get a harvest with something somewhere else. All right, this is looking pretty good. I think I might save this section here for something else. I think this is good for bell peppers for now. So I still have all of these bell peppers left that I could put somewhere else, plus that one little baby. Okay guys, I brought the rest of the peppers out here with me. I'm gonna set these down. So I got all my bell peppers, and I stopped and I grabbed some more banana peppers. So here's the banana peppers. I was actually looking for Anaheim peppers. I don't know if I didn't start any Anaheim peppers or if they died in the greenhouse. I have no idea. I can't find any, so we're gonna add some banana peppers out here. But mostly we're just gonna finish planting the bell peppers right here in this section. Let me show you what's going on. So why we call this the animal garden, let me show you. So these little guys, they're so smart. Like anytime we're out here in the garden, they're out here. So this animal garden, it connects right to the animal yard where all the animals are. So there's probably about an acre where all the small animals get to kind of roam around and hang out. Anyways, this garden, originally we built for them. Since then, we use it for us too. So I've got, it looks like almost 12 maybe. We'll see how many we end up with, how many of the bell peppers. I'm just kind of ripping these suckers apart here. Now some of these are smaller than others, some are a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna go ahead and plant them. So I do notice that the soil right here is a little bit more compact than it is in the other garden. Not really sure why that is. We use compost for everything. So I see a lot of questions sometimes about what should I use in my raised bed garden. And I think the answer really just depends on how much money you want to spend. So we use, I'm gonna grab the screwdriver, it's a little compact here. We use compost, and I find that that is what does the absolute best. So that will grow our plants the best. From a cost standpoint though, compost is the most expensive. So if you're trying to fill your raised bed garden inexpensively, then your best bet is to use something else for the bottom and then just put the compost on the top. So do what you prefer. We prefer the compost. It's worth it. We do have to add some each year. We added some to the front garden. We did not add any compost to this back animal garden this year. So we'll see if that has a difference in production of the veggies, but I think it's gonna do just fine. Now the soil here, I don't know if it shows up really good on camera, but super dark. So good and healthy, should make for some really healthy plants. I'm trying to be kind of careful, but I'm not super gentle either. I've got to get them separated. So I am trying to hold on to the soil in the soil block and not the actual plant and rip it out. So just be mindful of that. But we'll get these guys separated and get them planted. Whoops, there's a ladybug on that little baby. So I've had these guys sitting outside for a couple days now because I didn't get everything planted. It's taking me a few days to get the garden planted. Generally, so in the past, we've kind of just knocked it out in a day or maybe 2 days. This is definitely a process. Okay, so I put my bell peppers in. I'm gonna put my banana peppers right here. I have 9 banana peppers. So I'm gonna have 6 just on this side of this wooden piece here, and then 3 right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in. The roots are not totally well established. I mean, they're fine, but they're not root bound. I don't need to break them up. So I'm gonna just set them right in and put them down. So this should go pretty quickly. Now I've grown banana peppers in the past, but we haven't grown a ton of them. Hopefully I'll find a way to use them this year if we get a good harvest off of them. I really like to grow Anaheim peppers, bell peppers. We use a lot of those, kind of just interchangeably. So if our bell pepper harvest this year does good, I'll be pretty happy about that. And then if we get a decent banana pepper harvest, I don't know what I could do with those. I know Gary likes like the pickled peppers. Maybe I could do something like that. So unlike the bell peppers, I did start the banana peppers in these little cups. There's not really a huge difference on why I chose to use soil blocks versus cups. It was mainly space. I had a few trays for soil blocks, so I used them. And then I had a bunch of these little cups that I had ordered, so I used these for some things. I like both. Probably next year, I'll stick to soil blocks for more of the things I'll plant in my garden and just use these little cups for everything in the plant cell. All right, we've got our banana peppers in, so there's 9 of them here. We'll see how they do. So we planted a bunch of them in the backyard garden, and I got these bell peppers out here. I put 12 of them in this animal garden. So they're in rows of 3, and if you guys watched our previous video, I actually put bean seeds, some Kajari melon along this trellis. So we should have bell peppers in the front, and then we should have some vining plants that'll grow up that trellis. So stick around. Hopefully things grow well here. We'll give you updates on garden tours each week. See you guys next time.